What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dynasty Lab podcast, presented by DynastyRankings.com, of course. If you guys haven't been there, you should make sure to check that out. I'm pretty sure that won't be the only time I plug that on this episode. Alexander MacKenzie to my right or left, depending on which way your phone is oriented. You can find him on Twitter at Jacked Up on Mountain Dew. Mine is, of course, at an Outrage Jew. And it's funny because I was just telling Alexander before the show started that there was a graphic error on this overlay screen and had been this way since apparently the beginning of time. And it said an outaged Jew. I don't know if you ever noticed that. And so I was messing around with this. By the way, we'll get to the lengthy hiatus. I had been sitting around just pacing in my house waiting to come back and do an episode for everybody. And so I was over-examining the overlays. And I noticed that there was a typo in there with which I had typed, so I don't know how I got that wrong. But it's corrected now, and it will be going forward, but quality control is important, everybody, so make sure that you check us, check yourself. So we are well aware, I was just looking at this, that October 2nd, the very first week of October, 2 days in, is what the second is, Alexander, we had done a show. It did really, really well, like really well, shockingly well, because Spotify's like, yeah, you know what? These guys make really good stuff. Here you go. And just threw it in the face of every potential listener. And then what did we do? How did we respond to our biggest show in history? We said, we'll see you guys in 5 weeks. So, well, a week later, I put up the unfortunately no show this week with 20 seconds of audio, and I don't know, it's me like half asleep at the wheel talking. And then we didn't do a show for ever. And admittedly, guys, let's address this first and foremost. And I'll let Alexander say his piece because Alexander has done nearly all of the heavy lifting on the data side of the website. The website had data issues where we weren't happy with the results of the rankings. And of course, on Alexander's side, what he had to do in the background, the issues he was dealing with. And my mentality, unlike many other people in the industry, I am not going to go to the mailbox when it's dumping rain outside. I'm going to wait till it stops raining. Then I'm just going to casually walk to the mailbox. So I told Alexander, look, if the website's not working and the whole premise of what we're doing is to show people the site, show them the rankings, show them the tools, show them how to leverage them using DynastyRankings.com. I should get a sounder for every time I say that or a counter. Why do a show? Now, listen, I know you guys listen. You guys consume hundreds of thousands of hours a week, and there's not that many hours in a week of content, and they're all doing the same thing. It's predictive analysis. It's buy this guy, sell that guy, do this, do that. Look, we want to show you guys tools and how to use them. And when they were not effectively available, we were like, look, it doesn't make sense to do a show right now if we don't have the data to back it up. So that is why you guys have not heard from us in 5 weeks. I probably should have continued to put unfortunately, no show this week up until this point in time. My bad. I did receive one DM, which was pretty hilarious. I told Alexander it was going to happen. And some guy said, classic Nate, 4 weeks of content, then we never see him again. So that's not true, by the way. Ryan, I believe it is who it was. I'll look it up. We are back, and there is a change. And yes, Alexander is going to talk on this episode. The one big change to help us out with our schedules and the way life has been going, big drop in the background, by the way, was that we have since moved the show starting now to deploy on Friday mornings. Originally, we were shoehorning it in to try and get it out before Thursday's game, but Alexander and I made an executive decision and decided we're not worried about the Thursday game. We're not worried about trying to be ahead of it. The bulk is on Sunday. The game's on Mondays. So our plan is to have a show every Friday. Friday's arguably the best day of the week, by the way. Like, if you have to go to work during the work week, it is the best day. So hopefully it'll be nice content for you guys to infuse into your Fridays. So you can find the show from now on Friday morning as well as on YouTube. If you guys are on Spotify, of course, you're going to see the video. If you're on Apple, it's going to air on YouTube probably like midday. Alexander, take it away.
Yeah, again, glad to be back. We've been working really hard to ensure accuracy, and with starting a new website, there's like those kind of like kinks that you run into that somewhat breaks the system, and you want to build in more rigor in the system to continue to ensure higher quality data. And I think that was what we did for the last few weeks, is trying to build in steps that we can avoid this in the future, because we want to ensure that we give you all quality data, and that way when we give you content, we're showcasing what we are stating is what the confidence that we have in those specific players. So I just wanted to make sure that we could handle the ever-changing flow of the market and the scenarios that are happening within fantasy football. And that's what we spent the time doing, is ensuring and putting in steps in our system to avoid these mishaps in the future.
That was concise, and that was quick. I talked for like 6 minutes. No, I agree. And Alexander, again, I like credit to him. The website, its functionality, the quality of the data, all of the issues in the background, and like I cannot over express that this is so over engineered. I mean, literally, what Alexander does for a living has put a lot of his effort and time into this. And there's a lot of this stuff that I'm learning along the way while being involved with what he's been working on. A lot of you guys just see the front end. You just see the buttons, you click, you examine the rankings, but you have no idea how much effort goes into the back end and all of the consistent issues that are changing with where data is coming from and naming issues, which are probably going to come up on this, and so many other things that are just hand grenades, literally like one after another for Alexander, and he's constantly with a tennis racket smacking them back into the jungle, and he's doing a great job. So I just want to give props to him for what he's doing. And with that being said, you guys should all continue to like give props to Alexander and motivate him, because if the site breaks, we'll just disappear again for 6 weeks. So it's really problematic at the core for all of us as a whole. So we got to band together as a team, guys. Let's focus up. So obviously in the last 4 to 5 weeks, a lot has changed. And so the last episode, and it did really well because it was a rankings episode. And let's be honest, people love a good rankings episode. And so with as much time that has passed, and by my math, are we at 5 weeks? 4 or 5 weeks? There's 5 weeks in October.
5 weeks. Yeah. So we're about 4 or 5 weeks. We're on the 5th week that we would have missed potentially. So
yeah. I was trying to think of a player reference. It's been so long that who was good before we left and sucks now?
Malik Neighbors.
Oh, man, he got hurt. Yeah, I can't think of it. Well, it's been 5 weeks and still nobody's seen Caleb Johnson. I know that much. But nonetheless, what we wanted to do on this episode is very much like what the last one was that you guys heard. We want to go through the rankings, talk about some of the big changes. One of the coolest parts, and I had mentioned this, can I get this hat right? Hold on, this is really important. This is more important than this whole episode. One of the most important and powerful tools that we have at the website, outside of the way that this system is calculating player values, is comparing our system's player values to the market consensus rankings. Because that's where we believe in the accuracy of our data and our information and the system itself. And we're essentially saying to you, like, if you leverage this and you trust this data like we do, then you can use it to leverage it against where people value and where the market ranks other players. So when we have a player ranked significantly higher than consensus, there's a lot of reason for that, and might be signal for you if you're looking to get a big win, because again, this side tangent, there's going to be a lot of those. We've talked on and off this whole offseason, and we're like, damn it, if we had done a show all offseason, the calls that we would have had would have like bolstered the statements that I'm making now. These are not empty calorie. What I'm telling you is these were said, but they were said into the nothingness of nothingness, and you guys couldn't hear them, but Alexander and I could, and I've never told a lie, so you can trust that. So that's as good as having heard it for 10 weeks. So I guess the point is that if you trust the data like we trust the data and you leverage it against the market, there's a lot of value to be had. So I think that that's really important. And again, I want to harp on that. Now, also, there are a few more changes that need to be made to the icon legend, but we did add some new icons and we're going to be deploying a few more. So I do want to start with that. Let's start with that because that's a little outside the box. It's fun.
Yeah, there we go.
And there's some ridiculous badges that have been added. Now, with that being said, if you guys have badge ideas, hit me up on Twitter. Hit Alexander up on Twitter. Tell us some good badge ideas. Some of the badges are tied to actual production metrics and there's thresholds. Other badges are kind of ridiculous. So let's jump to some of those badges right now. Now, I don't know what this is going to do. Oh, God. It's been 5 weeks, Alexander. Hold on. Here we go.
There we go.
Is this going to do it? Okay. I mean, it didn't do a sound effect or anything, but it did it. So this page, if you go to our website, dynastyrankings.com, up at the top, you can click badges. And of course, it says decoding the icons. Neither of those two words are the same. We'll get that worked out. Also, badges, icons, you tell me. So as we've had before, elite asset. Did we talk about these the last time? Have we ever broken these down?
We did when we first did the first episode. We walked through some of them. Yeah, we definitely walked through them.
I guess we should go through some of the new ones. Target Monster, again, this is one where the player's threshold of his target share is 27% or higher. Just recently added the Volume Hog, so you can see that one. Running backs commanding elite touch shares of 75% or higher. Then we added Falling Fast, which is a piano falling, of course, because what else would you do? What goes up must come down, and the model says this player's on the way. So we're going to start adding these icons to different players. The Rookie Riser, we got a new rookie icon. The Hype Train, of course, this is a player that's high on the open market, but the data on Dynasty Rankings doesn't support it. So who could that be? Again, do you know somebody that's a good candidate for an icon? Let us know. Say it in the YouTube comments. Hit us up on Twitter. Cold Streak. And then my favorite one, let's get a big zoom in. This one is called Not Sexy But. And this one, ... Of course, it's appropriately titled. Plus, you got the Broncos game on. This is the Cortland Sutton badge for unglamorous, reliable, and quietly productive players. I mean, it was Jacoby Myers. It was, take your pick, right? It's a guy that nobody really wants to own, but they're productive. There's the Toast for It's Over. You know it. The model knows it. These players are toast. These are, by the way, these are really, really good taglines, by the way. Then we have, of course, the same ones that were there. Sleeper, buy low, on the move, staying still, injured, which Malik Neighbors, who you brought up earlier, he should have one now, hands off. Now, some of these have not been deployed. We're looking to deploy them. So we'll do those in the future. But I wanted to start with that because I just think they're ridiculous and fun and colorful, and they're adding a new depth to the rankings, and you're not going to find them anywhere else. So if you got a good idea for an icon, let us know. I'm all about doing something great. All right, so I'm clicking rankings right now, and I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so let me just make this fit. Hold on. Oh, here we go. All right, I'm just kidding. All right, here we go. So we got it. All right, so how do you want to start, Alexander? What do you want to do? Dealer's choice.
I was thinking we just go by position and talk about some of the guys that we thought have risen up, or we could just talk about the ones that are the players that are on your mind right now that you can't stop thinking about.
You tell me. You name it.
The one guy I can't stop thinking about who has moved up so much, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I feel like it needs to be said over the 5 weeks we have been out. I got to check where he was at. I'm checking right now in our previous rankings.
Look at you switching me to another position right off the bat.
Got to mix it up on you. So we already had him wide receiver 6. I think even before that, I'd have to go back and check. He definitely was in the 15 range to start the season. There's not one guy that has risen up higher than anybody else to wide receiver 3. And you could make an argument with those 3 now at the top that JSN could easily be at the top there. Chase has just done it for so long and so explosive. Still doing it even with Joe Flacco. Joe Burrow's coming back at the end of the year. Burrow's not going anywhere. Chase has got a contract. But you could make the argument at some point that one of these two guys, Puka or JSN, will take Jamar's spot. But JSN specifically, I feel like during this 5-week stretch has been absolutely unbelievable.
JSN is 2 years younger than Jamar Chase. So for starters, when we think about the age apex and all this, obviously Jamar Chase is going to survive the age apex like fine wine. That's not the issue with Jamar Chase, but his quarterback's never upright, so there's that problem. But what's crazy is I love that the target monster icon is here. I need an advanced version of this because that threshold's 27%. He has the number one target share in the NFL at 38.2%.
It's insane.
That's
just insane.
8 games?
Through 8 games, that's just I wish I would have looked that up, but there's got to be close to a record there.
Oh, I mean,
on his completion percentage there.
Number 3 in targets, number 1 in air yards, air yardage share, target rate, number 3 in deep targets. I mean, everything that you would want out of him. He's been arguably, the best receiver in football at this point in time. I mean, Puka's amazing, obviously. They're neck and neck, and I can see the classic case. You bring it up Jamar Chase, and it's happening with Justin Jefferson. The classic case where just sort of fatigue of greatness, where you just are like, you're kind of ready to see a little bit of a changing of the guards for some weird reason. And Jamar is still just immensely elite. 20.9 fantasy points per game, market position rank, still number 1. Market rank overall, 2.5. Now that's interesting because, of course, that's a super flex ranking. So if I was to click super flex, I don't believe, should we do the experiment?
Yeah, why not?
By the way, I love that we can have both icons open up at the same time. You can open up as many as you want. Look, it's freaking party in here. Anyway, so let's go check all. We got super flex on, and let's see where Jamar falls. Okay, Jamar's 3. I'm actually surprised by that. I did not think that was going to be the case.
I think it's more of an indictment of the players like Jaden, who suffered a myriad of terrible, the most recent brutal injury, but myriad of injuries and kind of having a rough year this season. So I think Chase still was always a highly valuable asset, and Bengals went and got, an above, at least a slightly above average QB in what Joe Flacco is at this point, and still facilitating the ball to him and still scoring points. So the value's there. He's still pretty damn young. He's going to be 26 this year. So he arguably is one of the most valuable assets, especially because nothing suggests that Joe Burrow is not going to be Joe Burrow when he comes back. So there's no injury. This injury is nothing that's extremely concerning that would, hinder this offense whatsoever when Joe Burrow comes back.
Yeah, there's no question on the Burrow thing. And that is a major reason why Jamar Chase's value is insulated, because look at what's happening to Justin Jefferson. Exclusively around him is the question mark about the quarterback play and the quality of it. That is literally happening to Justin Jefferson as we speak. So, with Joe Burrow coming back healthy, it's no question. So I understand why he's still in the position he is. Plus, he's being highly productive. And by the way, Joe Flacco throwing for 470 yards. Come on. That's how you know we're in a simulation. Like, that confirmed it. I had theories, but then when that happened, I'm like, okay, I'll go to work tomorrow. So here's a player, while we're talking about players that have risen recently, I think one that we have to talk about is probably Drake Maye. Drake Maye, since the last time we chatted, I think Drake Maye was top 10, possibly 5 weeks ago. Did you have his previous rank?
Yeah, 5 weeks ago he was top 10, so he was 5 weeks ago as well.
Really?
So, yeah, he was up there already.
Wow. Okay. Well,
I have to check where he was preseason. I think he preseason.
I thought he was in like the top 12 preseason.
He might have been top. Yeah, he was top 12 in the preseason. Let me go look. But he definitely was pretty. He was not in the single digits for sure.
By week 5, he had already had 3 20-point fantasy games. He had 3 top 10 games in the first 5 weeks. Since then, in the following 5 weeks, again, 3 top 10 games and 2 that are outside the top 15. So he's been And the thing about it is, he really doesn't have the weapons yet. Like, that's the thing. You and I really like Bo Nix. I know that there's a big like Twitter campaign to just absolutely take a shit on Bo Nix. I'm sorry, there is. I always see it. People are like citing, they're not going away from Bo Nix. Like all the quarterbacks that are doing atrociously and young quarterbacks that don't do well, and you want to call out Bo Nix on a team that's like 7-2, who's right up there in touchdowns. Just stop it. But anyways, yeah, Drake Maye is one of those guys that like he doesn't have a superior surrounding cast yet. And you were the first person to say this next statement that I'm going to say, so I'm going to give you credit now for what may happen in the future. But you had brought up a great fit for this team is a guy who's on a 1-year deal on another roster, which is George Pickens, which is like, it makes sense. It's the wet dream opportunity. And I was talking to you and I was like, what about, Rashid Shaheed? Like, could he be well, he's in Seattle now, so we're taking the tops off everybody. But George Pickens could be like one of those guys that just takes him to another great level over there. So I think that's an interesting concept that a guy like that would go there. Because really, when you look at the free agent class next year, it's not that great. It's not that like talent filled. And what team is going to have a bigger need at wide receiver? And there are definitely some, but with a quarterback in the position that he is, like whose team is as talented with less around him? I don't know. Bo Nix? I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, both of those QBs are doing the most with the least, have rushing floors. I mean, both of them, they projected this in college. I think Bo Nix was a dual threat starting off his career, and then Drake Maye was also a dual threat in college. And then both just efficient passers, prolific passers in college, and now they're doing it in the NFL like at an extremely high level with the supporting cast that they have is not even near compared to the likes of like Joe Burrow and some of these other guys that have these monster supporting casts. But Drake Maye was QB 11 to start the season for us. He is now skyrocketed to QB4. But yeah, no, it's such a great thing to see these guys that you feel confident in the profile, and then when they play and they get some games under their belt, they start to produce and turn into these elite players that we thought they would be.
I think we should talk about Bo Nix for a minute because there really is a smear campaign going on, whether the people want to admit it or not. Let's just call a spade a spade. By the way, can we get him an icon? Like what icon? Does he have to get the not sexy butt because everybody's such a loser out there that they don't?
He's a good candidate for that. I think he's a great candidate for that.
It's so ridiculous. He would be the most talented player that we would give this icon to, but it's just such a tragedy that people are saying that it's related to the O-line. It's related to, I don't know what he doesn't have that many weapons around him. Like it's not that thing. And he's been hyper productive. And again, he's averaging 20.6 fantasy points per game in year 2, 19.4 the year before. He's QB7 overall in fantasy points per game right now. But it's not a situation like it was with Justin Fields. Listen, this is the problem. He's scoring fantasy points. That's all you care about. He's not the quarterback that you have to worry about losing his job because he cannot pass effectively. He's passing effectively. The Broncos are winning. They're a good team. He's not losing his job. So it doesn't matter how or which way he's achieving these points. He's doing it. And his job is rock solid. So I guess that's where I get confused. Also, his consensus market rank at the position is 9.5. So it's funny that you read so much that's smearing what's going on, but yet when given the chance to select which player you would keep or given the chance to trade a player away, all the market data says this guy's top 10. So irrespective of all the things, it's like exit polling, right? You don't tell anybody the truth when you walk out of the booth.
Fun fact, Bo Nix was actually, this is correct. It is correct. He's QB6 preseason for us. Bam. So I think it's because the likes of Mahomes and May have played so well that have thrust them up above him but still, preseason we even had him QB6. Market rank at the time had him roughly 7.5. So market's gone down a little bit more than we have on him. And yeah, I think that, fantastic profile. I think some of these other QBs have just been sensational, like May and Mahomes, that have thrust themselves back into the top 10. I think Mahomes for a while there has had like 2 rough seasons that kind of thrust him outside the top 10, hovering around the top 10. I think preseason for us, Mahomes was QB9, so hovering around the top 10 there. At the time, the market didn't like Mahomes that much. Let's see. They had him roughly 6.5, so we were kind of down on him based on his preseason work. But Mahomes has kind of thrust himself up there, and I think that's another player that we go in the emergence of is Rashee Rice. This kind of picking up where he left off.
Oh yeah, he and by the way, Alexander again also never told a lie, and he is telling you that in the offseason, when we were essentially doing a podcast every time we got together but not recording it, we were constantly beating the drum on these players, and this is what the system was saying. So take it for what it's worth. I would trust it. It's pretty accurate. So DynastyRankings.com. Go check it out. Here we go. So you want to talk about Rashee Rice?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Oh, God. How do I switch this? Is this going to get me there? Oh, it worked. So let me click this. Let's see where we've got him. That's that multi-select feature. Gotta love that. So we have Rice currently wide receiver 9 overall. Got to give him an icon. But wide receiver 9 overall, 22.4 fantasy points per game.
It's just picking up where he left off. He started He had 3 games to start the season, averaging 21.5 points per game. Back at 22 points per game. Kind of right where the market had him. Everyone was down on him because of the incident, the suspension, and stuff like that. And he's picking right back up. I could see Rice fighting for a spot here if Jefferson's situation with McCarthy doesn't get better. And I know London's playing at a high level. Malik's obviously hurt. I think over time you'll probably see Rice continue to move up just because of how prolific this Chiefs offense is with him on the field, and just how much. They're using him, and anytime he's in the red zone, he's their red zone running back, wide receiver, and heck, they've even had him at QB at sometimes. So he just hasn't. He's so damn good, and again, I think banging the drum on these big slot receivers are the new archetype to chase to get these kind of target hog guys. And Rice is one of those guys, along with Mika Ibuka, who's been sensational as well.
That's another name I guess we're going to have to jump to at some point. But yeah, he's been great. And obviously with Patrick Mahomes, number 2 at the position at quarterback rating when targeted. Again, target share is borderline top 10, target rate number 4 in the league. That's what you want. Look, Patrick Mahomes has been great. He lacked weapons. There was some down years. People got down on Mahomes. Rice literally, and we run into this so much. Rice had already shown you what he could do. Then there was some missed time. So if you got the opportunity to buy, for those that did, kudos to you, because you got a wide receiver who's locked into arguably the best passer in the league still for the foreseeable future at 25 and a half years old. You're going to get multiple years of high-end production out of him. So we have him at 9. What was the preseason rank for him? What was our old
preseason
rank?
We were kind of low on him. We had him at 18. So
18?
We definitely, I was kind of disappointed in going and seeing that. But I know that I think there was still some, shadiness on situation, probably emergence of Worthy and stuff like that. But I think that, market influence on there also kind of helped push him down a little bit as well. Market had him around wide receiver 19, so kind of bought into that since we didn't have nearly as much data on a 3-game sample, but he's also one that has skyrocketed up our rankings.
Yeah, and that's the big change. Now the question too, before we move to somebody else, I'm just curious because I'm looking at him right now. Brian Thomas. We still have him at 11. Now, 23 years old, prolific rookie season. We're much higher on him than consensus. We've got him at 11. The market's got him at 17. The system's just...
He's young and he's an elite
move.
producer.
Yeah.
No, he's a young and elite producer, and we're not going to move the moment everyone all of a sudden gets scared because he was averaging almost 17 points a game, and he's an explosive playmaker. I think this is part of the hindrance of the situation with, QB play situation. It could be like he's not playing as at the high level that he was last year, but the talent's still there and there's still room to grow. I'm not ready, and the system's not ready to move off of someone like Brian Thomas, who at one point in our system was wide receiver 5, market consensus average was wide receiver 5. I think it's a fair spot for someone like this, and I would not be moving him down to wide receiver 17 because he's still healthy. Granted, they got Jacoby Myers, Travis Hunter's hurt, but there's still a lot of games left in this in the season that Brian Thomas can, kind of help put some patchwork on this what has been a rough season for him.
I mean, and Justin Hunter hasn't really, or Justin Hunter, my God, what a throwback.
Oh, boy.
Travis Hunter really hasn't been much of a threat, this year. And again, if we would have been podcasting, it would have come up, just not really a player in this offense and with what the use case was and what the expectations of his usage were. Not really a player that, again, you look at it in rookie drafts, in hindsight, you think about some of these players that went, he was going at 4 in super flex drafts. I mean,
yeah.
And again, the guys that drafted Henderson and the guys that drafted whatever, it hasn't necessarily been fruitful for everybody, but it's very interesting to watch it deploy. So I think on the Brian Thomas front, yeah, that's exactly right. In the system, this is one thing that we've talked about a lot about this system. It's not just going to pick up and sprint and move somebody because the performances, it looks at what was done last year, it looks at the age, all these items, and they're all factored in, and the market as well. It's not going to fall with the market the way this is. But he's at 11, and I at this point in time, I don't think that's crazy. We could go look up some trades and see what's been happening with him, but I'm certain if you own Brian Thomas, if you don't own Brian Thomas, it's a much harder thing to envision, but imagine having Brian Thomas and then just go consider flipping him for a second. You would never do it. Yeah, you would never do it. You wouldn't even flip him probably for you wouldn't flip him for a late first. You just wouldn't do it. So that's why he is where he is, because nobody in their right mind's actually going to do that thing that's going to value him in the range of, a second round pick or a late first. It's not happening yet. So I know you had brought up Egbuka earlier, so we could jump to him. He got the rookie icon. At least he got an icon. That's good. 15.4 fantasy points per game. Market consensus position rank is 9. We've got him at 10, so kind of right in line with the market on that one. And I know that you are infatuated with this player.
Yeah, Emeka Egbuka was he had the draft capital. He had a lot of people said he compiled because he played for so long, but his efficiency metrics like yards per route run were fantastic, even though he played X amount of years. It's just like the conversation you and I had about, like, if Jackson Smith and Jigba or if Jamar Chase played another year, would they still be Jamar Chase, right? Like that argument that this guy's getting an NIL deal and he has a chance to win a national title. He's probably going to take the extra money, get the NIL, go get a national title, and then go play in the NFL, and then also be potentially offensive rookie of the year, right? So, Emeka Egbuka, I thought he had an insane profile. Preseason, we had him wide receiver 12. Market rank had him at wide receiver 17. So pretty high up on Emeka Egbuka. He was insulated because of the situation. Everyone initially looked at that situation. Chris Godwin got an extension. Mike Evans is still there. Chris Godwin still hurt. Still hasn't really come back fully. Mike Evans has been in and out of injury and is getting a little older now. Don't know if he is close to, retiring or what his situation is. But Emeka Egbuka was also in a fantastic spot because also Baker Mayfield before or this last season was playing at a high level and has continued to play at a high level this season. And so he was going to force feed, especially with the first round draft capital. But he's garnering so much of that offense, and he's tied to a prolific passer in Baker Mayfield.
I don't think there's really anything to add to that. Yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer. And again, I think when you look at us in the market or in lockstep, I mean, I think that that's a pretty powerful statement that everybody else, including what we believe, are seeing the same thing. There's not a big gap. Sometimes when you see a big gap one way or the other, we talk and we're like, why in the world would there be, again, it's like the Brian Thomas one. It's like, well, people are just, again, they're running scared. It's been part of a season. We're in the second year. It's obviously it's a weird scenario right now, but he was so incredibly productive and the talent was immediately recognizable. He's a first round pick. Like, none of these things should be a problem. It's just he's not being productive for you. Now, if you're getting somebody that's noteworthy in return and makes you a productive team, I get it. There's a lot of teams out there that don't want a glamorous roster that doesn't win shit. They want a roster that's built to win games. I get it. I play in a lot of leagues where I see guys make trades, and again, they would have a number of guys with the not sexy badge, but they're productive. And in leagues where you've got a lot of starting roster spots, you have to have those guys in. And unfortunately right now, while I get the whole sentiment of you want guys that have big weeks, well, if Brian Thomas is going to get you one every 9 weeks, that's not really what you're looking for. So at this point in time, if you're somebody that doesn't want to go through the ups and downs of 2025, I understand. But what I appreciate about what our system's doing is it's not just going to run out and do some crazy thing because he hasn't been the player he was last year.
Well, that's just the biggest thing. It's systematic, right? We're trying to move at an iterative basis, stick to, a baseline without moving so far away from, our initial view and taking in actual data and doing it in increments. I think that's part of the reason why we took some time to, evaluate the system without it being extremely reactive to the market. And one of those things to the market and some players' production. Some of these guys had monster week ones and they're not doing anything now. Rome Odunze, if you're hovering over right there, is one was on fire, and some of these games have gone to, I think at one point he was averaging 17 points a game.
Yeah.
Now he's like 13 and a half. So he's had some weeks where he's kind of gone up and down, and I think that's sort of in our evaluation of him. His points per game has gone down. That's influential on our system, and some of the other players like Brian Thomas, for example, I think has a 30-point game, and then all of a sudden he skyrockets like 6 or 7 position slots.
But with Odunze, that was the glimmer you wanted, right? A lot of very high-end performances. And look at where JSN was in the market. I mean, JSN arguably, if we look, where do we have, did we talk about this? Where do we have him preseason?
Preseason.
And then where did the market have him?
So this is preseason. Season start. We had him wide receiver like 10.
Oh, shit. Okay. Wow.
We had him wide receiver 10. Market had him at 11. I think he started to hit at the very end of the season there, so I think that's what buoyed him. I think if you went back even further at the beginning of last year, you could probably get Jackson Smith and Jigba for a second-round pick. I think I had gotten him in a few weeks. People were down, said he was a bust.
Yeah, I don't know if I ever saw that. I know I'd seen some late first, but there was definitely like a seller's market on him because people or a buyer's market, if you will. People just weren't confident that was going to be the player. Nobody saw this, by the way. Nobody saw this. But Rome Odunze was on that same diet, right? The year one, buried by a lot of talent. Year two comes out, and we're seeing the numbers. I mean, we witnessed it, and he's got a number of big games still. Like, yeah, he was quiet for a few weeks, but 2 weeks ago he had an 18.4 fantasy point per game outing. So it's there. I mean, he's got a number of really big games. It's just that Caleb Williams could never do what the great Sam Darnold does. Never in his wildest dreams could he be Sam Darnold. So you're just going to have to deal with that. And then, of course, Colston Loveland breaking out and all that, everything's coming to fruition. But point being, like, Odunze's still a guy that I think for a lot of people should be on the radar. Our system, lower on him than consensus. But again, there's probably a multitude of reasons we could get into why, which I know you've laid out there, but he's an interesting name. I'm actually surprised Travis Hunter's still at 21, if we're being honest. Let's see here. I don't know if there's anybody else you want to really hit at wide receiver, but I think
No, those are the big ones. Those are the guys that I think were the guys who had hit really hard. Marvin Harrison is obviously one that's kind of dropped a little bit due to QB play. Harrison was at what, wide receiver,
and we'll see. He's probably close to where he was. Yeah. Well, I think with the great Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, we may see a resurgence of his value. So kind of yet to be seen. That's another one of those players who are like immensely talented. We're seeing some of those big games come through here and there. Like very clearly, we're seeing all the signal we need from him, but. There's some blame on Kyler. There's some blame on Marv. So who knows? I really don't know. But the profile clearly states that he's a damn good player. And then, of course, market consensus and us right about the same. 17 for us, 16 for them. Let's go to. Do we want to go to running back or was it? Let's hit quarterback real quick and see if there's anybody else that was worth mentioning that maybe.
I have one.
Go ahead.
Jackson Dart by a wide margin.
Yeah.
And I mean, he had a somewhat interesting profile, but I did not think that he was going to be someone that would skyrocket. And his rushing floor is what's insane. I think he's played, 6 games, and 5 out of those 6, he's had rushing touchdowns.
6 total. Yep.
And he's had a rushing touchdown in 5 out of those 6 games.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
I didn't realize he was going to be so mobile. I know he had a little bit of mobility at Ole Miss, but I didn't realize. I'm trying to find his college stats. Let's see. So, I mean, 2024 at Ole Miss, he had 494 rushing yards. That's pretty good. I mean, there was one season he had 614, so he does have a rushing floor. I just didn't realize it was going to translate as well, his athleticism as a runner to the NFL. I think what I've been more surprised about is his rushing ability compared to his passing ability. I thought he was a good passer in college, but I didn't realize he was going to be this damn good on running the ball. And I didn't realize Daboll was going to use him in that manner.
I mean, and again, this is without Malik Neighbors. So, we're seeing Theo Johnson emerging in this offense, and Wandale's been decent along the way. And, you lose Scatterbo, and that hurts because he looked like he had some significant ability in this offense as, adding to the over-energetic levels that we had seen there. But he was a hammer, and I think you start getting that going, that's going to open up the passing game. So, Jackson Dart's already climbing, and we're right about consensus. We're slightly lower than consensus. We've got him at 11, consensus 9.5. But the rushing upside, like you alluded to, but again, we may not even – this is what made Josh Allen level up. This is what, Joe Burrow. Like these guys, when you get this elite wide receiver, you bolt that onto the offense, suddenly this quarterback – takes a massive jump, and we've seen it a number of times. Look at, again, it was rookie year for C.J. Stroud, but look at what happened to Nico Collins before and after. So you give him a Malik Neighbors who is guaranteed for 170 targets. Who even knows? I mean, sky's truly the limit. So I think deservedly so in this position because you look at the players below him. We can comb through a couple of names. Upside for upside, like who would you prefer more than him? I mean, the group below him has become just a blender of question marks. It's like, I like Jordan Love, and I know you do too, but Stroud, it's been ups and downs since that rookie year. McCarthy,
Yeah.
still don't know much. Purdy's been hurt. Mayfield, Fields, Lawrence, Darnold. Like, again, and Kyler's way down here, but it's hard to say. And right now, with what Dart has done on the field in year one in New York, which is a very difficult place to play with all the expectations and what was going on there, like, he's been that good. So it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. But I would love to see him with Malik Neighbors, because that for me is like, that's where the jump happens. And if you've liked what you've seen now, it might be one of those things where if there's any number of like average performances that get strung together, which there necessarily hasn't been, maybe there's an opportunity, because I think something even greater exists out there, which is shocking, all things considered, to see the production levels and then consider like what could still be.
Yeah, I'd be excited to see him develop. Again, he's one that I wasn't nearly as high on, and he's changed my mind, and I think agreed. I can't wait to see him with Malik Neighbors.
So I think quarterback's pretty much. I mean, I don't think there's no meat left on the bone here. I mean, Cam Ward, QB26. We've kind of talked about this a little bit, or maybe we haven't, but Tennessee was the stone worst spot that somebody could have gone. And Calvin Ridley being hurt and defensive players being hurt, and just, it's an atrocious situation.
Yeah, it's brutal. He's got no weapons. They tried to invest in the O-line. It's just a recipe for disaster. You got a QB that, is not with a terrible coordinator, horrible weapons, no run game to help him out, to help build it up. Cam Ward's going to need some help. Hopefully that Tennessee will work some magic and invest in some free agents and put some draft capital to help Cam Ward succeed, because you could see the talent. The arm talent's there. There's some creative improvisation. Can't say it, but try that. Say that 10 more times.
You gonna try one more time?
No, I'm not. I'm too scared. Cam Ward, for sure. Cam Ward for sure needs some help, but there's definitely talent there. Hopefully he gets a better coach and the better weapons around him. It's just a terrible situation.
I mean, have we ever seen a quarterback play this poorly and then climb out of this hole? Like, if you're performing this bad, and he's been that bad, but let's just say for argument's sake, we're going to put 50% of it on Tennessee. If you're this far behind, you really think you're going to make up ground in 1 year of a draft and free agency? Cam Ward is in a lot of trouble. Like, I like the profile and I like the talent of the player, but my God, there's no way. And go ahead, remind me of this later.
You could remind us later. It'd be tough. It'd be tough because you'd see a good player, a good QB would be able to kind of carry the offense to an extent. You'd see him higher than the 26 range, probably a fringe top. He'd be a top 20 player if he was kind of somewhat, productive to an extent. I just don't. We talk about like Drake Maye, right? Look at Drake Maye's situation that he walked into, right? And he's exploded, right? It's both big guys with fantastic arm talent, so pseudo gunslinger. I think Maye's was a little bit more productive at a younger age in college than Cam.
Style.
That pop up on there? Jeez, ads popping up on these websites is great. Go on with your point.
I'm just saying that we've seen players like Bo Nix and Drake Maye have no weapons and be productive and ball out. And we've got, Cam Ward's got literally nobody as well, and they're not doing anything. New England's defense was terrible. New England's supporting cast was terrible. O-line was horrific. And I think it was Demario Pop Douglas, right? And I mean, Kayshon Boutte is pretty good,
It's fine.
But even before that, who did he have last year? He didn't have Stephon Diggs either. Yeah. He's been throwing to 31-year-old Hunter Henry as his number one wide receiver the entire time.
Yeah.
So Cam Ward definitely has an uphill battle, so I hope for the best for him because he's definitely got a great profile coming out of college.
I just think the bigger issue, like here's the thing, and this is where people need to this is what you need to think about. There's no conceivable good reason to be the guy who's willing to gamble on Cam Ward because you're hoping that you end up with that young rookie quarterback that performs well. Like the odds that you get some top 10 season out of him after what we've seen now it's low, and he may be a serviceable quarterback in the NFL. Like this, it may take him some time. He may end up being a fine quarterback, but why gamble on that? And the other part is you're not going to get anything for him if you sell him because people have lost absolute confidence in him. Again, we've got him at 26. The market has him at 23. I wouldn't want to own him because are you ever going to start Cam Ward like in any – what were his per – let's look at his per game. Here are his games because this is worth listing. By the way, these are real numbers from the world that we live in. 2.5 first game, 9.8, 13, 5.5, 9.0, 7.9, 11.2, 13.8, 6.4. That sounds like Samaje Perine numbers. That's a quarterback. That's a human being quarterback. That's like a real man with arms and legs and a football helmet, and he throws the ball and stuff. That's a guy.
What happened to the prolific passer that came out of Washington State and Miami? He went to two different schools and
didn't he refer to his team as ass like 5 weeks ago?
Oh, I mean, he I think he said to keep it real, we're ass or something like that. Dude, at 21, at his sophomore year, he threw for 4,600 yards and 47 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. Now that's okay. I looked at that wrong. It's not Washington State, guys. That's a D2 school. But he still threw for over 3,000 yards, 4,300 at Miami. Just goes to show you just how much of a climb it is and how much your situation matters. That's why, again, guys like Jackson Dart, if he continues to produce with, he's got Tyrone Tracy and then he's got Wandale and Theo Johnson. That's not the best supporting cast either. And if he keeps producing on a per game basis, especially with the rushing upside, once he gets Malik Neighbors back and they, I would not be surprised if, they go and get some more weapons for him, hopefully some O-line talent. Jackson Dart's going to continue to ascend. So it's just like two players that are in pretty tough situations. One's ascending and one continues to decline. And I just very surprised about how bad Cam Ward is, but yet not surprised because of the supporting cast.
But at what point, like the conversation about Jackson Dart or, Cam Ward, like at what point is it not necessarily the talent around them, but what the quarterback is getting out of these players because of what they do as a passer versus these players like digging them out of a hole? I mean, Cam Ward's just doing the least right now. And so there's not a whole lot to talk about here, but all I'm saying is you don't want to be the guy that's like convincing themselves that Cam Ward is like this buy because it's such a deep hole. I'm not even sure like what analogy I would go with, but you're like in interstellar, like deep space territory looking back at Earth. If you're Cam Ward right now, it's very, very far away. And
you're Matthew McConaughey falling into the black hole right now.
That's right.
Cam Ward right now.
Yeah. The next time a book falls off your shelf, that's Cam Ward in the fourth dimension or sixth dimension or wherever the fuck he is right now. Okay. All right. So where are we going now? What are we doing?
I have no idea. We're going to go running back.
Scared?
Running back for
yeah. Because you're scared to go to tight end. All right. So of all avoidance tactics, running back, I don't know that there's anything that's really we can go through this. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's been incredible this year. So he's the oldest guy in this cluster by 3 years, but also he's running like he's 22, so I don't think that matters.
He's running like he's 22, but I think that's the thing to note. Like, Jonathan Taylor is also some guy a player that's like everyone has kind of had up and down viewpoints on. He's had down years. He's had extremely productive years. I think preseason Jonathan Taylor was RB 11. Now he's RB 3. Right, a massive jump. Just the only reason why I want to bring him up is because Brian Thomas had an insane rookie year, right? And he's having a down year now. I think that it's just Jonathan Taylor's an example of a player that you can go and buy, or that you can go buy last season, probably for what, a late first potentially. He averaged 13.6 points per game.
Let's do this.
13.6 points per game, and the market had him at 9.5 preseason.
2020 RB19. There's a dip here, RB10. This is in 23. Dip back down to RB. So this is when the last one was. So this was in July. He was RB11 in May of this year.
Yeah, we got him up to, he was at 9.5 before the season started. It's crazy. But just to put an example of a player that has the talent, has had the production, those are the kind of guys you got to go buy. Like, I'd be buying Brian Thomas right now.
I don't shop at Michael's, so I just think it's funny that I'm getting hit with. Like, I don't do any craft work. I really
thought you were going to make an analogy with Michael's. I was actually kind of disappointed with it. It was just because of the ad.
No, there's no analogy for me. I don't want to. There's just a lot of ads that I feel like are ulcer guard. What? But I don't have one. Oh, this is dangerous that I host the show. You host the next show. So let's see. Let's keep scrolling through the list here. I mean, McCaffrey at 10. Yeah, consensus is 8. We've got him at 10. 25.7 fantasy points per game.
He was one you definitely were banging the drum for. I was concerned about the age and the injury history that I think at the end of the day, I thought he would, this is the time he was going to fall off. 29 years old entering the season, RB 30 starting off the season, by the way, in our system. So that's one definitely that we were definitely very, very low on. And I think because the production was up and down and the injuries were stockpiling, and our model definitely looks at the age, definitely influencing based on the position. So,
and 4 games the year prior. I mean, 4 games the year before. This is why AI is not going to take all of our jobs. Still needs somebody to cut trees down and count the rings, and it can't do that. So here we are. Yeah, I think McCaffrey. Do you think is that a job? Nah, it's not a job. So. Going through this list, Judkins up at 13. I know for a while with the with the preseason stuff and all the legal issues, he was floating kind of elsewhere. So this is the interesting cluster. The Etienne, Hall, Chase Brown, Travion Henderson. Like, if it's not this, is Ramondre out again this week? Do we know?
He was out last week. I don't know.
Can anybody confirm that?
Yeah, could someone in the chat please confirm it?
This
is a recorded show.
Yeah, God, yeah, this is pre-records. Are you going to look it up or should I?
I'm looking it up.
Can I use this? It's too fast. Do you have it already? Hold on, I'll buy you more time.
Unsure, questionable.
Yeah, he
got to be the week.
I mean, he looked good. It's just that opportunity. Yeah, it's really funny because where's he? Oh yeah, by the way, hit him with that ice cold. Just sorry, underproductive. What do you want? What do you want me to do?
Yeah, Travion is also, again, I just think that sometimes there are coaches that definitely force players to work towards it. I think his pass pro is not that great. That's definitely taken away from his ability on the field, which is ironic because I thought his PFF grades for pass blocking were really high in college. So I thought it would translate into keeping him on the field. Yeah, he's dropped a lot. He was RB8 preseason. Market had him at one moment.
It's crazy.
7.5. It's just really bad. I think this is one of those players that the next season though some of these coaches just highly tout veterans, and rookies take a long time to get influenced and play in offenses like this. Like I think that was Vrabel had a young Derrick Henry and he was still throwing out.
Oh, Tennessee, DeMarco Murray.
Yeah, he had DeMarco Murray out there, and he didn't care. He kept keeping him out, and then finally he realized, oh wow, I've got a guy that's 6'2", 240 pounds, and can run like the wind. Maybe I should give him the ball.
I don't know. Vrabel doesn't give any young guys a chance. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, it's just,
Kyle Williams is another player too.
Kyle
Williams is a wide receiver that we were really high on. I know that Kayshon Boutte is hurt this week, so he potentially could have a good week. They said he was going to get more involved, but we really haven't seen a lot from Kyle Williams. But Kyle Williams is another super talented wide receiver that came out that we were really high on. That it really has not gotten any looks, and I don't know if it's because Kayshon Boutte has gotten better and Stephon Diggs is still not fully dead yet. So I think Drake Maye is also just making everyone look incredible because Drake Maye has been playing unbelievable. But yeah, Travion Henderson, Kyle Williams, keep an eye out for those kind of guys because I think year 2 of those players potentially could be massive steals if you go and trade for them now.
I was gonna try to find a way to make a joke about like if you were like a gardener for Vrabel or like a pressure washing his driveway kind of guy, and like I'm not gonna try and workshop it. I was workshopping it in my head, just trying to earn his respect, but he doesn't respect any new people. Fuck it, it's a bad bit. We're gonna let it die.
Except if your name is Terrell Jennings.
Yeah,
Terrell
then you get
Jennings
goal line work.
Goal line work.
Yeah.
You're going to get goal line work.
Yeah, because Travion Henderson does the dirt all the way down the field, and then he gets fed.
Is Terrell Jennings like poor man Zach Charbonnet?
I don't even know. We're gonna have to go find it. Yeah, that was the one for me last week when I was like, oh, goal line. Oh, punch it in with Jennings. Of course they will. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? He played 3 games last year for 4
I don't even
snaps.
think Terrell Jennings. I don't even know if Terrell Jennings is in our system.
I don't even know if he's a real person in the simulation. Like that was the second way I knew.
He might actually have been just a fan that Vrabel liked and that he walked by and liked.
He was NPC.
And stuff, so.
Yeah, because I was thinking to myself, I could use a Travion Henderson touchdown about now, and then he ran it in. And I'm like, is this guy in the league? Like, is this just some?
He is literally an NPC, isn't that? What the young kids say now? They're an NPC?
Yeah. You know, Vrabel looked at Travion and he's like, no, get back in here. Like, no, you don't get to taste that yet. 4 more years, maybe then. Maybe when you're a crusty vet. All right, continuing. Scattaboo injured. RJ Harvey, what is he doing tonight? Has Harvey done anything? Because he's been pass catcher du jour here recently.
See, the problem with Harvey is I thought there was an expectation that he was going to be a 3-down back as well, just because he was going to
move the goalpost
there. But I mean, I'm not. I was never really that big on him. I think where we have Harvey in our system preseason.
The last 2 games prior to this week, he put up 24 fantasy points and 16 fantasy points. But he can't quite completely body bag J.K. Dobbins because Dobbins is like the most explosive man who ever lived.
Dude, unbelievable. 2 Achilles.
Yeah.
Is it 2 ACL?
2 ACLs and 1 Achilles. It's crazy. It's absolutely good. No, his
Imagine
story
how
is,
explosive he was if healthy, like fully healthy. Would he be the most athletically gifted running back in the league?
I think he's just too explosive for his own body. Like, I just think that he's just too much. I don't know. Yeah, probably. Like, we watched him just a minute ago, like, shake a defender just completely out of sight. I mean, he's still
And he
got
has
it.
no Achilles. There's nothing there. It's just air there, and
I'm not a doctor. We need Jesse
I mean,
Morse.
I mean,
Should bring him on this one so he can point out, is the Achilles in the elbow? Is that, we'll bring him on. Moving along.
oh, that's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah. Krosky Merritt, the prince that was promised.
Oh, brother, I'm gonna eat shit for that one for
Yeah,
sure.
that one's
I
on
definitely
you.
was really high on him. Well, I don't know. The usage is really weird. His rushing metrics early on in the season were fantastic, but again, that was playing with Jaden. So there's that,
Yeah.
The Alpha Morris corollary that I've seen people tout, where these freezing defenders allowing Bill to
Talking
get
about
through the gap.
RG3?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
RG3, great
sure.
option. But I think that when you have Jaden on the field, it just opens up so much more, especially because they're probably a little bit scared of his passing ability too. But the weapons have not been good for the Commanders, just forcing teams to just play close to the line of scrimmage. I'd have to see his box rate, but yeah, Bill's been a disappointment. And I just figured with no Brian Robinson, he'd get, 3-down usage, especially with how much hype the team had talked about Bill. Really just a small grinder is what he is.
Hilarious.
Not a Gruden grinder.
It's
Just a small grinder.
okay. Yeah, I guess small grinder. That's great. Okay. Average defenders in the box, running back 38, 6.4. So,
Woof.
yeah, I mean, I think it was the feel good story that we needed coming into the holiday season. I think it's a hallmark tale.
If you check Twitter, he's an industry plant.
I know.
That's what
Yeah, those are the same people that hate Bo Nix. Those are the same people that still are gonna say Bo Nix is gonna bust. By the way, I think there's a chance that maybe they blow this game to the Raiders in the background. It's 10-7 with 14 minutes left in the simulation. So we'll see what happens. Yeah. So I think that that's pretty much the running back story for now.
Yeah.
I don't want to. What have I done? I don't want to do any. Let's. You want to hit tight end briefly, or do you not want to subject yourself?
We can look at these tight ends. I just think the premium values are still being updated, but yeah. How do you feel? Has Aronde arrived? Actually, I did see the stat that Aronde's first 3 full games playing is the most yardage for a rookie tight end in NFL history.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me because in his first 3 games.
Let me go look. I gotta find the stat. Hold on.
I don't think so. Not after the Brock Bowers year 1.
Well,
now,
it's X amount of games. Okay, so here it is. Aronde Gadsden's the second, because he's been giving me so much trouble with all everyone's suffixes in their names. Everyone's got to have a first,
you can't
second,
use the word
third.
suffix anymore. You're gonna get canceled.
Wait, you can't use that word?
Go ahead.
What?
What's your thing? Can't say that. Say suffix.
377 receiving yards over the last month is the most ever for a rookie tight end over a 4-game span.
What?
Yes. So listen, here it is.
Wait. Those games were in October. Are they just taking part of the month? That was a 5-week month, wasn't it? How many Sundays were in October? Did he play a Thursday? This is I'm just going to tell you right now, this is incredibly cherry picky, but
it's a cherry picky. I mean, it's what's going on. It's the Gadsden agenda on there, and he's not an industry plant.
Who posted this? Who posted this? What's the guy's
A
name?
lot of people. There's Dynasty Zoltan. Kyle. I'm not going to be able to say his last name. No. Okay, yeah, that's just not going to work. But it is a stat. He has some sort of.
Well, you couldn't say improvisational earlier, so I don't see that last name working
Yeah,
out
I
either.
don't. That's just not. Yeah, pronunciation. Just keep me with the numbers.
That's interesting because, all right.
He's been playing incredible, nonetheless, and he's
Yeah.
extremely young, and he's tied to Justin Herbert. Come on,
I mean, great for Herbert for sure to add one more of these weapons. And I know that Gadsden was a player that was talked about quite a bit this offseason with the profile and coming into this situation. And again, not a ton ahead of him necessarily. So, and then here it is, breaks out and he's at this point in time, like you have to look at him like you're looking at this tangible upside week to week. It feels like any given game he could go for, borderline 100 yards.
Yeah, because there's just nobody else that they're in the tight end room that he's competing with now. I mean, they're just force feeding him targets, which the moment they got him involved, it's never stopped. But
yeah, so he's one that you and I mean, he's clearly like the largest, the greatest riser of this group. It's nowhere near riser. What was he 5 weeks ago?
Oh my God, 5 weeks ago. Pain here. He was
probably next to Devin Asiasi.
He's like tight end 15.
That's a rare name pull, by the way. Nobody gives.
Yeah, how did you pull that?
Because I
tight end 15
everywhere.
For him for Rondé. Preseason, I don't even know.
Yeah, probably way out there.
But he's biggest riser overall, I think, because he's just
for sure. For sure. I mean, the rest of this pretty much makes sense. I mean, obviously Tucker Kraft with the injury.
Yeah, that's pretty tough.
That sucks.
Having an insane season. Yeah.
I mean, I think the rest of this is pretty much straightforward. No, I gotta be honest. Like a lot of this is kind of a first look for me and you as well. Like thumbing through the rankings since they've been pushed, since they've been updated. So hit this. Yeah, man. I think we covered a lot of territory. In the future, we want to go back to breaking down more trades, doing stuff like that. But on this particular episode, I thought it was important, and so did Alexander, to kind of run through the rankings as they exist today, talk about where they used to be and maybe some of the players that where we have them in the market versus the market itself, where we see some deficiencies, maybe where we're overestimating players too. So again, dynastyrankings.com/dynasty-rankings if you guys want to check out the rankings. Of course, we didn't feature it on this episode, but the trade calculator is up and running. It's also powered by the same stuff that the rankings are. So dynastyrankings.com/tools. Need to change that. And yeah, these shows are going to be airing every Friday, and they will be much more I'll have more gadgety buttons and sounders and things going. I only had 5 weeks to get it together and played like two things on this episode. So not my best performance there. But Alexander, as always, carry the show. And we will be back next week. I can say that with confidence, as long as the website's working. If you guys see a little like hard hat and like an under construction sign, just don't go look for the podcast because it's not coming. So anyways, thanks for checking it out. And if you guys have ideas for badges or how we should title them or who we should give them to or new ideas, feel free to share that. And please, of course, share the website with your friends. We'd love to get this out there because then we can use all that data featured on the show to help you guys out further in all your leagues. So thank you guys again, and we will see you next week on the Dynasty Lab.